any of that stuff go on, man, you got to you miss out. It fucks up that rhythm.
Yeah.
It's all about a rhythm when you're
big time.
So yeah, once you get that rhythm messed up, and then sometimes you can't get it back.
No, and that's what having a Google Pixel 4 would help, is get that back, I think.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I might. I'm not going to. Like, I'm not going to jump back on the Android train. But God, I don't know. I'm interested to see what people say about the cameras on that Pixel.
Would be nice if you had one volunteer friend who would get one. You know,
who do we know that we can do that with?
I don't know. Somebody get one and
let us know.
Let us play with it a little. See what's up, because
everything I read about that new 11 Pro and the 3 cameras on the iPhone, everything I read is like it is off the charts. And I've seen B-roll sequences that guys have shot with that 11 Pro that are completely insane, man. I mean, it is amazing what that phone will do.
Just next level. It's almost like having a DSLR with interchangeable lenses.
Well, and I saw somebody the other day. Because there's been an argument. People are always like, man, cell phones are catching DSLR, and pretty soon, people are like, pretty soon we won't need DSLRs. But I saw a photographer who made a pretty good argument to that. He was like, no, I like that the cell phones are doing this because that's making Nikon and Canon and all the big guns. It's making them up their game.
Yeah.
With the DSLRs and the mirrorless cameras and stuff now. So, I mean, we got, there's DSLRs that are shooting pictures at 30 megapixels. That's crazy good quality of photo.
10 years ago, you'd have never thought 30 megapixel would have existed.
Oh, man. I don't even, DSLRs first came out, I think they were shooting like 12.
And that was big.
10 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah, and that was big. That was big time.
Oh, that was a big deal.
And to be honest with you, most photographs that you take don't need to be any more than 12 megapixels.
No, I mean, it is. I mean, 30 megapixels is pretty much overkill, but I mean, they are beautiful photographs once you get them edited and stuff.
The thing about it is once you blow it up to 10:1, okay, now you're starting to see it a little bit grainy, and 11:1 is a lot grainy. But if you'd had a 30 megapixel camera, 10:1 would have been clear, and 11:1 would have been somewhat grainy. So
look at the video cameras, dude. Like, don't the Red cameras shoot 8K?
Yeah,
I think Red cameras shoot 8K, and like, I mean, the new Apple monitor is a 6K monitor. We don't even have anything that you can really appreciate 8K.
No, not yet. You got one camera that's ahead of everybody else, which is good, because once viewing technology catches up, then it'll be there. But here again too. I don't want to go out and pay $25,000 for a camera. Do you?
Right. I don't want to do it. I kind of wish we'd get a project that we could rent one and use it though, just so I can mess around with it and see what it does.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool to see what kind of good A footage, and especially cool. B-roll.
Oh, it'd be crispy as fuck, dude.
It'd be insane. And then what you could do, when it's that crispy, that's an editor's dream. When it's that crispy, because you there's so many filters there's a lot of filters. If it's not crispy, there's a lot of filters that'll make it look blurry, muddy, that kind of stuff. At least a couple of filters that I've looked at with pictures that I've taken. I put one of my pictures from Cosmo and just started kind of flip-flopping filters, and I was noticing that the more warm I got the picture, the more blurry it looked. And it was because, I kind of shot the thing about halfway blurry. It wasn't crisp. But I took a crisp photograph and put a warm filter. Oh, man, that looks great. So. Yeah,
but you could run those photos through Lightroom, though, and if anybody takes pictures, if anybody shoots photos and you're not using Adobe Lightroom, and Adobe does not pay me $1 to say this, if you're shooting photos and you're not using Lightroom, take my advice, get on that train right now and get you a seat, because man, it'll completely change your game.
Yeah, it's something I got to step up to.
Oh man, Lightroom is it's a dream, man. I mean, speaking of those if anybody's got a video project and they got a little cash in their pocket, and you want to give us the chance to get a Red camera and shoot it for you, contact us. I'd love to use one of those cameras.
No kidding. God knows we got the microphone for it now. We went big time up. I even went big time up on how you cover this thing. I've got this. I mean, it looks like a cat blew itself up. I mean, just
it's called it. Don't they call it a dead cat?
Yeah, it's a dead cat. But I mean, this thing is insane. And I took the microphone outside and had it on the recorder, and I was like taking the microphone, went in the air like it was a lightsaber. Almost no wind noise whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that dead cat works really good on that. I had to know. I mean, you know me. I had to go out there and at least figure out if a $50 dead cat's worth. Let me tell you something, people. It's worth it. Very much so.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked on that deal. I can't wait to use.
You know, I would be really stoked if you could, dadgummit, bring a deer home. You've been out there twice now, and I know
let's get into this.
Yeah.
So so you guys that listen to the podcast, or if you've kept up with me online or anything, actually, I don't know if I've even posted anything about it on Instagram. So Sarge is getting ready to have a cardiac, which the timing on it is not the best because it's kind of messing up his hunting season.
Yeah, it is.
So he gets a hold of me the other day and he's like, let's run out to the lease. Our lease is about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours west of where we are in Oklahoma. So I load my stuff up and we go out there. This piece of property's got a ridiculous amount. So we hunt pretty hard for an evening hunt, and the next morning we're seeing a ton of deer. So Saturday night we're hunting, and this is just how deer hunting goes. I'm sitting in the blind and I'm getting bored because I'm not seeing anything, which is really bizarre for this piece of property because I have seen deer the whole time we're out there. I just haven't seen anything that's close enough for me to shoot.
Right.
So I send Johnny Simo a text and let him know, kind of updating what's going on and say, I'm not seeing anything this evening, blah, blah, blah. He texts me back. It's like, oh, that sucks, brother. You know, keep at it, da, da, da. I read his text message and I set my phone down and look up, and there's a 6-point buck standing like 25 yards in front of me. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I don't even have my crossbow. I mean, I'm not holding it. It's not even close to me in the blind. So these deer are so comfortable from this property being farmed and everything. I lean forward and grab it and pull it close to me. I'm not even being quiet, and this deer does not care. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm shooting this deer, and we got venison in the freezer. Yeah. Horrible to start counting your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
So I shoulder this crossbow. Well, he's moving. He's moving from my right to my left.
At a slow pace? I mean, is it kind of a slow pace? He's just kind of like meandering. So he take a couple steps, and then he stop for a second, he take a couple more. Well, by the time I get this thing shouldered, he's getting ready to get kind of in an area that's got a tree between me and him. So I'm starting to panic a little bit. So to stop him, I make a noise, kind of a little honking noise, and he stops, but he doesn't look at me. He looks down range from where he is. He's broadside to me. Well, I squeeze the trigger and send one after him. And anybody that bow hunts will know, like when you hit a deer, especially where you in the vitals, it kind of sounds like somebody punches a slab of meat. Yeah.
Well, this bolt hit him, and it sounded like somebody, like a wooden bat hit a ball. Just this huge crack. And I'm like, whoa. And he turns, it spins him around. So he spins around 360 degrees, and then he runs directly away from me. Gets down in this grove of willows, and he starts stumbling. I'm like, okay, go down. And now, because he's 35 yards from me, I'm like, this is going to be awesome. I rarely have to track deer very far. But just about the time he's going to go down, I guess he gets a burst of adrenaline, and he starts running farther away from me. I'm like, oh, man, you got to be kidding me. Well, then he starts stumbling again. I'm thinking, okay, now he's going to go down. No, He does it again. He goes over this little hill. So I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. The last thing I see when he's stumbling the second time, my arrow, I got a knock on it that lights up when I shoot it.
Right.
I see that neon green light sticking out of his shoulder, and I don't see very much blood coming. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So, I mean, I just buried it in his shoulder cap. I mean, it was just
Do you wish you
I hate to say it out loud. What?
Do you wish you would have had another bolt lined up and cocked and ready to go.
I mean, if I would have had, like, you mean, like, if I would have had, like, a double barrel crossbow?
Well, I mean, like, you got to sit there for a sec. I mean, it's rare that you take a shot like that and just go right outside your blind.
Oh, yeah. You know, unless they fall straight to the ground.
Right. So,
and even then, you sit there for a few minutes.
But you never think about it. You know, you think, God, if I'd have just cocked that thing and put another bolt in it and had it on safety, when he stopped at 35 yards, you know, I
could have shot him again.
Yeah, you probably could have lunged him or something like that. But you don't think about shit like that. You know, I know I got him. I know is he down?
Is he down? And the horrible thing is, like, when he goes over that hill, I text my dad because my dad was down the property in a ladder stand. And I text my dad. I said, "Hey, I just shot a 6-point, and it was poor placement. He took off, and I couldn't find very much blood at all. I was like, I don't have good blood on this." So we started talking in the motel room that night, and he was like, "You know what? We'll go out in the morning. We'll look." We looked for 3 hours, and over that hill was the most dense sand plum thickets you've ever seen in your life. So he probably went in there and got in the thickets and expired. So which probably means I fed a bunch of coyotes. But yeah, man, it was disappointing. The cool thing about that trip was on Saturday, we saw between Friday night to Saturday night, we saw a total, including that one, of 16 deer. And we talked about it. We haven't seen 16 deer combined in the last 2 years. And we saw that in 24 hours. I mean, there's an incredible amount of deer on this property.
You saw that live in 24 hours, not on.
Doesn't count what we saw on the pictures on the trail cameras.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Saturday morning, I actually had the big buck of the property. I had him walking right at the blind that I was sitting in, and he got to be about probably 65 yards, 70 yards from the blind. And of all things, a pack of coyotes got wound up and started howling. And he stopped as soon as he heard them, and he turned around and walked right back to where he came from. So, I mean, I have seen, and that deer probably, I bet he field dresses over 150. He's huge. He is a huge whitetail.
You know, it's
so
funny.
We'll see.
Funny how deers innately know things. Like, you know, you can have a freaking congress of deer sitting in front of you. I don't know how many. I don't know what you call that. Like a bunch of deer in front of you. I just called it But
I kind of like that term.
A congress of deer in front of you, and the head guy, you know, the Speaker of the House, whatever you want to call him. You know, sunrise is at 6:14 today. Speaker of the House looks at his watch. He's like, "Oh hell, it's 6:12, man. We got to get moving."
Yeah, we got to go.
And then they disappear like a minute before it's legal to shoot. Like they got pocket watches on.
We got we got word from the property owner the other day. The big bucks are all moving between the hours of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. I've never been anywhere. Yeah, I've never went anywhere that bucks were moving in daylight, midday like that.
No.
So I don't know. I'm going to load up Friday. We're heading out there again. So party of 3 going to go hunt that property. Actually, and one of us has never hunted before, so we're going to try to get her on a deer. I'm going to try real hard to get her on a deer. So
awesome.
That's
one of the Doc is going with you hunting. That's killer.
That's one of the best things about hunting is if you ever have the opportunity to go with somebody that's never shot a deer and they get the opportunity to do it, just the emotion involved with it is completely insane. I mean,
I hope and pray that there is a, and remind me too. I'll put my, I've got the GoPro batteries charged.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, remind me to bring it by between maybe tomorrow or early Friday, and you can take that with you and somehow work it out because I'd love to get it
on camera.
Yeah, I'd love to see her get buck fever on camera. You know, most people don't even know what buck fever is. And what it is just a surge of adrenaline that keeps you from controlling how still you are. I mean, you'll shake, your breathing will increase. You know, when you breathe, it's in multiple waves. It's not just one. It's more like,
well, it's one of the few things that happen that you can honestly see just how powerful adrenaline is. Like adrenaline's crazy powerful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and it's, well, I'll tell you this, that Saturday when I saw that big buck, and then Saturday